Sometimes a project is begun in AutoCAD and then the team decides to transition over to Revit. There are many possible scenarios where this can happen. Some of the team members may not have yet learned Revit. The project could have started a long time ago in CAD and now it's being revived. There could be some members of the extended project team working outside of your current firm that don't use Revit. Many other scenarios are possible. In any case, there are basically two strategies that you'd want to employ. There's the so-called convert strategy, and then there's the quote-unquote hybrid strategy. In this movie, I'd like to focus on the convert strategy. So to do this, I'm in an empty project created from the Revit default architectural template, and on the Insert tab, I'm going to click on the Link CAD button. Now, the file I'm going to bring in is called 02 Space Plan. So you'll notice here in the background, I opened up the Level 2 floor plan on my project browser. So I've got the 02 Space Plan selected, and I want to make sure that I choose Current View Only. Now, if you watched the previous movie, you know that this will force this file to display only in the Level 2 floor plan. It will make it view-specific to that view. The reason I'm doing that is because I'm only using this file as a basis to create Revit geometry. And then when I'm done with the file, I'm going to remove it anyway. So there's really no reason for it to show in other views. The other thing I'm going to do is I want to invert the colors. It was created in CAD. It's colored lines on a black background. If I choose invert, it will make it a little bit more legible on my white background. I'm going to bring in all the layers, let it auto detect, convert any off-axis lines, and center-to-center orientation is just fine for me. So I'm going to go ahead and click open here. When I open it up and zoom out a little bit, you can see the file has come in, and we have a bunch of walls that were created here in AutoCAD, and these walls are just simple lines. Now, when I call this the convert strategy, it's really a misnomer. There really is no way to actually convert AutoCAD files into Revit. There's no button you can push or any sort of automated routine. Conversion is really just a process of painstakingly tracing over the file. It turns out that it's maybe not quite as painstaking as it may sound. Tracing is actually fairly straightforward in Revit. So what I'm going to do is just pick some area of the file to work in. I'll pick these galleries over here. This is a museum gallery that we're looking at here. And I'm going to go to the Architecture tab, click on my Wall tool. And what I want to do is just choose the basic settings. Let's do a 5-inch wall. And leave the height unconnected for now and use a center location line. Now, the reason I'm going to do that is Revit does this kind of ingenious thing here where it sees the two parallel lines in the CAD file. And if you zoom in, you can kind of tell that it's finding that center line and allowing me to draw this wall directly down the center of these existing parallel CAD lines. So yes, I'm tracing over it, but you can see that it's going to move fairly quickly. The default behavior in walls in Revit is to chain. You can see that checkbox right here. I've got that turned on, and that's what allowed me to do the 3 walls in sequence like that. If I want to break the chain to move on to the next sequence of walls, I press the escape key a single time. Don't press it more than once. You'll cancel all the way out of the command. And then I can continue, find a nice comfortable level of zoom. And you can see that even though I'm tracing, press escape one time, it's going to move fairly quickly. While there's no automated push-button convert routine, using the underlying CAD file and a few little techniques, it's fairly quick and easy to trace over that file to begin creating Revit geometry. Now, one last little tip here. The reason that I brought in the CAD file using the invert colors feature was to keep the CAD file in color when it came in. As you can see, as I begin to trace over this file with Revit geometry, the color slowly starts to disappear. And the strategy there is that I'll kind of know when I'm done tracing because everything will have turned simple black and white and all of the underlying CAD will be covered up. When you're done, you just simply take the CAD file and delete it, and you're left with native Revit geometry in its place. Convert may be a little too optimistic, but the essential process to quote-unquote convert a CAD file is to simply link it in, trace over it with Revit geometry, and then remove the link when you're done.